Here's a little update on landscaping. We've gotten done with cutting and it has really opened up the view. The leftover juniper is gonna, take a year or two to fill in and look good again. And we have a few piles to clean up from here, but about to get going on that. But yeah, all the way around we can see out now, which is nice. So we're looking forward to that. Well, hey, Mrs. Farmer, what are you doing over here? Who's minding the farm?
It's minding itself.
Ah! We must be harvesting something over here.
Like what?
How about rest and relaxation?
Yeah.
We're getting ready for a gorgeous sunset tonight. And the weather is not too cold for the middle of February. Very pleasant trip. We're here at the Spouting Horn on the Oregon coast, south of Yachats. Well, let's see if we can get her to spout. Whee! This is probably the shortest little covered bridge I've seen in Oregon. So we're up the Yachats River, actually on the North Fork of the Yachats River. And there's this little bridge. And it's actually on a dead-end road. And near as we can tell, the only thing it does is to serve this property here to get across the river. But it's a very well kept little covered bridge. Well, we are out here in what's either some old growth or at least oldish, very old. Sitting beneath a Doug fir that must be a good 5 to 6 foot diameter trunk there. And we're on a little forest road that we've never been on before, in between two covered bridges. And rather going back to the main road, we're drawing a more of a straight line in between. But fortunately, we're out here in our 4x4. Let's see now, 4x4, that stands for 4 wheels and 4 hubcaps, right? Check, got her. Very pretty. We emerged from the other side of the forest into this beautiful little valley. Very picturesque. Little barn over here. Check out that pretty bridge over there. Well, what can you tell us about the Fisher Covered Bridge? Any fun facts there?
Well, let's see. It was originally built in 1919 and rebuilt in 2004.
Looks like it's got a pretty good coat of paint on it. Well, we're in the Five Rivers area, and I'm not sure which of the five this is.
And this is Crab Creek Road. Is this Crab Creek?
This could be Crab Creek. And we're on there's a adjacent bridge to that, so interesting there's two bridges. It's Super Bowl Sunday, February 12th, and the weather is so stinking nice. Game's not on for a couple hours, and it's just irresistible to come on out here. Golly, 12th of February, and the weather is just wonderful. Not quite short sleeve, but close. So I'm out here in the orchard making a mess, doing some pruning, and I have most of it done, but I got a few trees to go. Happy Valentine's Day. Unfortunately, Cupid has been grounded due to weather. Ain't it pretty? Welcome back to the Redneck Garage, the day after Valentine's Day. Happy Valentine's Day, by the way. Hope yours was wonderful. And what do we got going today in the garage? Well, we're unboxing brake pads and a brake discs. And for our back window, in case we want to, pepper it with all sorts of really cool decals. I think not. And all the really cool lines of things. Oh, installation guide. You know what we better do with that? Okay. What else? Caliper grease. Yeah, we better keep the caliper grease. Okay, let's get started. Okay, well, we got the old pads on the right-hand side here. Let's see how ready they were to change. I got new pads over on the left. So put them together and see the thickness of the pad. I guess they were ready to change, huh? Although I suppose I could have run them another 10,000 miles. Most of our miles are highway miles, so we don't put on a lot on the brakes. But yeah, well, we're getting ready for a big trip coming up here in a couple weeks, so we wanted to get a few things done. And here's the old, for that matter, here's the old disc. You can see quite a bit of wear down. Here's where it started over on the edge, and there's quite a bit of groove down there, down the side. And the new one is just smooth all the way across. So yeah, 133,000 miles, I guess it's time. In preparation for this trip, we had 4 fairly well worn tires, so I took it down to old Les Schwabe yesterday, got myself some new shoes, and not only were the tires pretty worn, but a couple of them were kind of worn on the edges down here, so I thought, I was kind of half thinking alignment. When I got there, they sort of thought so too, so I had them doing alignment, and I got talked into their medium grade tire, which I was sort of thinking, like I say. So $800 estimate for a set of 4 tires and an alignment. So we come back from breakfast to pick up the car, ready for the work to be all done, right? Wrong. Instead I came back and they had the work mostly done. Had the tires on, didn't have the alignment done yet, but they also had, before they did the alignment, an estimate on the other work that they thought they would want to recommend, in case I wanted that other work. Okay, so here's what they recommended. Well, first of all, they recommended the brakes. I already knew that. So, and I already had the brakes sitting at home on the workbench that I'd ordered on Amazon for about $100 for that package of rotors and pads. But they were going to, Les Schwab came in at a cool $500 for parts and labor. So I figure I'm saving $400 today. Although I do have to fess up, I don't necessarily buy the most expensive parts. This is a car with 133,000 miles on it. This will be the first and last set of brakes I put in here. These will last the life of what we have it. So good enough, I say. But then they also recommended, they wanted this whole control arm replaced. This metal piece with the ball joints out here. He felt like those ball joints were gone. And they said, well, as long as we're doing that, what else did he say? Oh, bearing. They wanted a bearing. They wanted these bearings replaced, both sides, mind you. And as long as we're doing that, let's go in and do the strut, the shock absorber strut. And as long as we're doing that, we might as well do all four, not just the front. And so on and on and on it went. And I said, well, let me see your estimate. For all that work, $3,500. $3,500. Now, I don't usually tell tales out of school, but we bought this car at 67,000 miles for $2,800. $3,500? Just, okay, I'll fess up. Maybe it rides a little like an older car, but it's still darn smooth and there's no knocks and rattles. And even though I got in alignment, it wasn't like it was tracking, pulling down one side of the road or not. It's just chipping on the tire a little bit. In the end, it probably would have been just cheap to replace the tires again sooner. Debatable whether I'll put another set of tires on this car. Might not have it that long. We'll see. Hopefully it makes 200,000 miles and I am putting another set of tires on it. But holy cow, I said, well, let me, go ahead and do the alignment. And he wanted to wait on the alignment because the alignment, if they did all that work, the alignment would happen last because they're taking all those parts, all those things apart would change the alignment. So they'd put all that in, do it last, and then slap it all together. So in the end, that would have been $3,500. So that would have been $4,300, including the tires, for a $2,800 car. And that was $2,800, what, 60,000 miles ago, almost. So I'm not sure what it would be worth now at 130. Well, with used car prices are up, but still, you get the point. Man, I used to like going to Les Schwab, but I don't know. We'll have to keep an eye on that. Sort of took all the fun out of having new tires, I think, to kind of. And of course, there's the sales pitch that goes with it that makes everything sound like it's in dire need. It's falling apart. And, okay, well, I wouldn't want to be you in a few weeks. That kind of thing. It's like, all right, okay, check in with me at 200,000. Talk you later. One down. It is tough to believe we had a few inches of snow yesterday morning. Beautiful, beautiful day today. But we do have just a slight bit of remaining evidence to prove it. Just out doing the wood chores today. It's winter time. That's kind of what we do every few days. Take 3 loads in, burn them up. I'm out on a solo walk today, up behind our place, across Watkins Creek, and you can see Mary's Peak there in the background with that lone tree sticking up in front of it. And what a beautiful day for the, I don't know, 18th, 19th of February. Just gorgeous. I think it's in the mid-50s and not quite shirt sleeve weather, but it's not coat weather either. Mary's Peak. Coming up here, I shinnied around this tree sticking over the road. I don't think anybody on the forest crew's been up this way yet. We had quite a windstorm, I think it was around Christmas time. And typically what happens around the clear cuts is you get a few extra logs going down where they're no longer protected. Okay, so a minute ago we were looking at Mary's Peak to the west. This is back over the hill a little bit and looking to the east. And boy, I wish I had the camera rolling just a minute ago, because off of this treetop over here, the one that's kind of sticking up above the rest, a big hawk just took off and flew across the valley. So impressive. Down here we got Watkins Creek right at that tree line there, and you can kind of see there's where a lot of that windfall went down with the windstorms. A little bit last winter, some this winter. And for those of you not familiar to Oregon logging, this is basically a farm. And you can say, well, what are all those little black marks, potholes all over the place down there? That's actually where aliens have, it's residue from laser beams from aliens. No, actually that's when they're through, they push all the trimmings back into piles and then they get burnt. And so does it look like this forever? Well, no, because right here at my feet is a good example. They've already come in and replanted. So they're kind of hard to see right now unless you're way up close. But these are all over the place, these new little Doug fir saplings. And something else that's interesting, really pretty right here, is a winter rendition of the Oregon grape. Very pretty. Well, here we are on the Redneck Garage, and would you believe that we're going 25 miles an hour? Okay, yep, 25 miles an hour, right? In our kitchen.
I was going to say Redneck Garage then.
Redneck, yep, we are actually at an annex of the Redneck Garage. And today we are taking apart the instrument cluster, because this portion of it, which includes the transmission indicator and then the odometer down here, is on a circuit that tends to fail a lot. And the reason it fails a lot is because of, well, let me grab a screwdriver. It's this phenomena, these four what's called surface mount resistors. I've already been in and resoldered them, which, okay, messy job, I'll admit, but it's hard because they're surface mount. They sort of flop around once they loosen up, and very bad patent. Why they don't just have little leads on either side that poke through the circuit board, I'll never know, but they tend to loosen up over time. And then this light goes out, and so you kind of shift by feel and guess where your mileage is at. Okay, it's working. Woohoo! But you might ask, is it easy to pop that instrument cluster out? Well, let's back up a little bit and take a look at, well, we have to take a few things apart. So this part drops down to the floor, this part's under the steering wheel, this part Goes around the cluster all the way across to the, well, over to that side. Parts over there. So now I got to put all that back together. Okay, so about 5 minutes later, all that stuff snaps back in and our dash is put back together. And we got the lights. Yoo-hoo!